Okay, we have a Jeep Wrangler with a 3.8 liter engine, V6. Came in for several different codes, but the one code I'm particularly wanting to concentrate on is the P0652. Okay. Anyway, it's referring to a voltage problem with the reference voltage, and it's connected to several different sensors, cam, accelerator pedal position, line pressure. I don't think that the P0455 is related, but it did have that code also. Oh, EGR also. Anyway, that being said, I'd like to show you the the connection between all of them. Here you have your line pressure sensor, accelerator pedal position sensor, map sensor, cam sensor, and then of course your EGR valve. And if you see, all of them connected, same circuit. Okay. Anyway, the approach I took to troubleshooting this problem was, of course, simply disconnecting the sensors. But now you could back probe one of these sensors and find your 5-volt reference. Of course, it doesn't matter which one as long as you get the 5-volt reference on that sensor. But I took a different approach. I thought it might be a little quicker and easier. And anyway, if you look on the scan tool data, you see it says 4.4. It was actually lower than that. This is the new sensor installed, which I think, according to the specs, you want 4.5 to 5.2 volts. That's not too bad off, I don't think. But it was like 4.3, which was enough to knock out the rest of the sensors. So, but when I disconnected it, it would go up to 4.92. So that told me that the map sensor was a problem. But the only reason that I'm monitoring the map sensor only is because that's the only PID that I seen that had a reference voltage on it that correlated to the 5 volts. You know, here's the accelerator pedal position, but it's already dropping because of the position it's in. I think the more pedal you get it, the less voltage drop you'll have on these. But this one is at a static. Of course, it does drop some just sitting there anyway. But if you disconnect that, matter of fact, troubleshooting this problem, the first thing I would do would be to disconnect that map sensor and see if your voltage doesn't change. And then you can start disconnecting the EGR and the cam and the accelerator pedal if you need to, until you find this to go up. But like if you disconnect the map sensor and it does not go up, then you've got another sensor problem. But this is the best monitor. So if you disconnect the map sensor, you should get your 5 volts, because evidently the other ones don't drop it, this reference voltage, to very much. But anyway, if that makes sense. But that's a good way to, of course you can back probe it with a multimeter and see it also. Of course you can hook an oscilloscope up to it also, but this one here, when it knocked all those sensors out, it would not hardly run. It was popping and misfiring. I mean, I barely got it in the shop, and it would barely start. So that's some other symptoms. And of course the ever dreaded throttle body light, the red light with looks like a throttle body, that was on. Of course the check engine light was on too. But anyway, this was the culprit. I try to zoom in right there. That map sensor was the culprit on this one. But of course the maps there, Can't really see it too good down here, but right here below thermostat assembly housing is the cam position sensor, and it's got a connector separate off of it just a little bit. You can't see it real good. And then on the back here, let me see if I can get a light here. That might help. You can't hardly see it. It's just, but this tube here, if you follow it back, it goes to your EGR valve. Okay, now you can see the connector, barely. See a little red tang there? That's okay, there's the EGR valve. So basically, at least 3 of the sensors are fairly easy to get at. So you got the EGR valve, the map sensor, and then there's the cam sensor. And if you have to end up having to change that map sensor, I do have a video on changing that, because you know, it's easy to break stuff if you don't do it properly. So I mean, most of these cars are made with plastic anymore, a lot of engine parts. But anyway, that was the culprit on this particular vehicle. Anyway, if you like my video, please subscribe and put a like up there. Let me see here. Yeah, that's the good the data on that too. But I thought I'd scroll down and do a just so you can see the other data on this. Sometimes it's good to look at good data. Of course, this is key on only, not running. Okay, now then, throttle position. Well, of course, I think that's on a different circuit, but it's almost 5 volts. Yeah, the best I can understand, it has 2 sets of 5-volt references, like an A and a B, and this would be, I believe, the B side that we're dealing with now. So I just thought it would be good, just for reference only, just to show you guys the data. There's the EGR valve right there. See, it is dropping it some there at the EGR valve. Of course, this is, yeah, it's just good to have a reference sometimes. Kind of cold right now today, 46.4 degrees coolant temperature. Intake is 44. It's pretty cold. I'm fixing to start up the heater, but I didn't want to start it up before I did the video because I didn't want to have a bunch of noise in the background, but I hear a bunch of wind blowing through the air. Anyway, thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe.